once again, welcome back to the plot. Okay, right, well, good evening everybody. Once again, welcome back to the plot. It's the first chance I've had for a few weeks to make a little bit of a video. I've had a few online queries. I'm going to have to have a look for the code. I've had a few people talking to, as I say, online. I'm always saying on my Facebook page, Jeff Foreman on the plot. You know where it is. As I say, I've been really busy the last couple of weeks. I've had a grandson moving into his new house, so me and the wife's been up there busy doing that. These hands are made for plants, not flat pack furniture, but that's what we've been doing for the last few weeks, shifting him and bits and bobs. So the garden hasn't taken the back seat. I've still been plodding on, doing little bits, an hour here and an hour there. As you can see by this place, it's the first chance I've had in 4 years to really get to grips with this greenhouse. 4 years ago I had a little 6x6, and then this come online from one of my friends, an 8x6, and I bought this, turned it round, and it's never been cleaned out properly since then. So under the benches, everything was taken out. The heat bed was completely stripped down, all the sand and the gravel, everything taken out. All the cables taken out, all checked. All the electrics checked, the lights checked, heating checked, everything. So it's spanking new. It's lovely and clean, had a good clean out. Managed to get all the rubbish from underneath, the spiders, the moths, you name it, they were all there. But had a really good clean. At the moment, what I've been doing is sorting my trays out, and they're all ready, all nice and clean. I've been having a wander around different gardens, seeing a few of the lads, so, the old mates that I haven't seen for quite a while. And one of the comments last week was James Savage, I think it was. Yeah, James Savage. Well, James, your son wants to get into the show arena. Well, there's no better place to start than your local horticultural society. Get yourself in there, meet a few friends, and you get some great times at some of the shows. It's really worthwhile, you know, if you want to put your time and effort into the plot and see what you can get out, see what you can grow. It's a fantastic job, way to start. Start early. Start at the bottom, work your way up, and you can have meet some great friends, lifelong friends, which I have done over the years in the garden, and you'll not regret it. He was asking about onions. Well, I've just been up to see one of the lads, and he's a fantastic leek grower. Dahlia growers are absolutely marvellous. I'm actually getting 10 stools off him this year, 10 tubers, and they'll be first class, nice big tubers. So I will be growing them again next year. I've never grown for 3 years since I've been a bit under the weather, a bit poorly. I've had little injuries over the last 3 years. So the dahlias have been out, the chrysanthemums have been out, but hopefully next year we're going to get started again. I'll be going to his garden in September, back end of this month, sorry, and I'll be getting a few chewers off him. What I'll do is I'll bring them down here. There's all your dahlia growing those, nice and clean, good tubers for first class stock for next year. So what we'll do, we'll clean them out down here, give them a good scraping, good cleaning, wash them in J's fluid, set them in some nice fresh compost, and then set them up in the heat bed, which is just a warm cable through there. That's all it is. Very little, few watts. It's not going to cost a fortune to run that. I've got my light. I'll change that over to a coloured one, and just to put a bit extra light on the onions, because if I'm starting onions off early, I want a little bit of bottom heat. You only want around about the 50, 55. You don't want a great deal of heat. I mean, if you're going for the really big onions for the World Championship, and you want to start your onions off really early, you want to be starting your seedlings off around about September, October time, when a lot of them set their pips and that away. But if you're just starting from seed, James, if your lads just starting from seed, when these dry out, if you get at my Facebook page and just messages, and I'll send you a few seed down. These are really super onions. I'll give you a few of these when they dry out. What I've done, I picked a few of the little heads off, open them up, and some lovely plump little black seeds in there. I've got 3 or 4 decent ones. So there they are, they're in there. I'm just trying them out just to see what they're like for growing. Germination wise, if they germinate okay, then that seed head's good to go. Come January, end of December, Boxing Day is obviously the traditional day, or it was when we first started. As I say, nowadays they're starting their seeds off in September, October. But they're all under lights, or on heat beds, or on everything. So, you know, depends on what you want to spend and how much time you want to. You've got to give free compost, which brings another one. Sherry Thames had posted online about the poor germination of the seeds. Seeds, well, once again, I use 2 or 3 companies. These are just spare seeds I've got lying around. That's my own for next month, the sweet pea. I never fail to put my sweet pea in the autumn time. We'll make a special video on that once we get a bit of time. Cheap seeds, you can get cheap seeds anywhere. I've used them. Once or twice I've ran short and I haven't got this, I haven't got that. I've nipped down to the local supermarket. B&M's, what should we Wilco's, blah blah blah. 99p a packet. They're fine. They'll grow. Compost is a different story. There is some rubbish out there in the market, as well know. So what I do, I make my own compost. To go back on some of my videos, I've just made a mix up yesterday on the plot. I wanted especially to do it. Got a cement mixer out, made me mix up 3, 2, 1 bone meal and me little bit of perlite added, and that's all mixed in. My own homemade compost. You will get weeds growing through it, but once you get all your weeds from the seeds, quite easy to do. If you're buying cheap composts from the supermarkets, what I suggest you do is you push it through a sieve. You don't have to be a fine sieve, be a big heavy. What we use is an old bread tray, that big with quite big holes in it. We take the compost through it, give it a good shake, and all the rough stuff, your bits of twig, bits of stick, throw it to one side, lumps, bumps, anything that we don't need, hide out, and we'll get a good quality homemade compost, ready to turn into a 3-2-1 mix. So depending on what mixture or what size of mix you want, use your buckets. We normally use buckets like this, or we just hide 3 or 4 bags into the mixer. If you're using a big bucket like that, that'll be 3 buckets of homemade compost, 2 buckets of ready-made compost out of the bag, and then a bucket full of sand, and a half a bucket full of perlite, and then a couple of handfuls of bone meal. Don't forget a bone meal. Bone meal is the most important thing, because if you're using the 3-2-1 mix for potting off, you want your plants to last a long time in that mix. Well, bone meal is a long-lasting fertilizer, so once it's in your pot, it's going to feed your plants for weeks, sometimes months on end. And that's the whole idea of these. Were seedlings for the spring seedlings. I've just brought them down tonight just to show you. We planted them 4 weeks ago now, and that's the delphiniums. Now all I did with them, I broadcast them. I just sprinkled over the surface, because these are going to be planted out singly into single pots, single cell trays. They're there. Multi-purpose trays, absolutely fantastic. You'll go into them. As you see, all my pots, all my trays have been meticulously scrubbed out with a good bleach. I will tell you this, once you get your greenhouse cleared out and you start bringing stuff back into it, just make sure they're all nice and clean. Check and double check. Don't get any slugs, any beasties underneath, clinging on your trays. When you bring them in, they'll run right in your greenhouse when you've got the heat on, you've got extra light on. So just check all your compost, check all your trays, all your pots, make sure they're all nice and clean, which these are. I've got pansies over there to pot off, so I'm going to be cracking on with that tomorrow. I've got the Bellis Daisy, I've got delphiniums, I've got Sweet William, I've got wallflowers. Oh, it just goes on and on and on. So we're going to crack on this week. I just thought I'd pop down. It's just in the evening now. We're forecast for some real heavy rain tonight. So I thought I'd get on here, make a little video, get it online, because there's been a few people asking where I've been over the last couple of weeks. As I say, I've been really busy the last few weeks. I was a bit poorly a fortnight ago. I've been done with a bad back for a while. I'm not surprised with shifting some of the furniture I've done. So I've never really had time to spend on the garden. What I'm doing outside here, I'm busy clearing all the pots off. The border, Anne's border's got to be completely cleared. That's another big job I've got to do. But we're going away on holiday in a couple of weeks' time, so I'm going to try and get as much as I can done here, as much cleared out, levelled out, mucked, and then just ready for replanting again in the back end of this year, the back end of November is when I'll replant delphiniums, xanthodeschas. I've got red pokers to go back in, all sorts. So all them will be going back in, but they'll be spaced out, giving a bit of room. The roses I'm going to redig, take them out and replant them, cut them right back down and replant them. So hopefully I'll get a better crop out for them next year. I've got some roses in pots over there and they're not growing too well, so I'm going to put them in the garden. It's all little bits and pieces, but it all adds up and it's all time. I've got my garage roof there to paint, or my son's supposed to be going to paint it. Hopefully we'll get that done the next week. And then I've got a little wood shed out the back to build. The jobs just go on and on and on. So I'm just going to spend, for the next couple of days, I'm going to try and spend it out in the greenhouse here, get all my potting off done. And then I've still got a few seeds to do. I've still got pansies to sow. As you say, I set some pansies away 4 weeks ago and they're absolutely rotten. But I like to keep some back. I like to do another crop around about middle of September. But I'm hoping to get them in plant them before I go away on the holiday. So they'll be okay. I'll put them on a tray. You know what I do? Tray, without any holes in. Just put a piece of newspaper on the bottom. Stick your seedlings in there, give it a good water, and then you can just forget about it. The newspaper, I'll keep them nice and moist underneath. Plenty of water there for them, and they'll just grow away champion. I'll sow them, and then I'll leave the sweet pea until the end of this month, end of September, in October. I never like to plant them too early, because I'm looking forward to getting a nice plant like that just for December, just a couple of inches tall. Now when the cold weather really sets in, it just slows them down. Nice growth on them, no heat whatsoever, just up on the plot, cold greenhouse in the tunnel, just let them grow on. And late January we chop their heads off, give them a good cut, and then they'll sprout away, and come March time you've got a fantastic plant that's branched away, plenty of side branches on it, but the main thing, you've got a fantastic big root ball on, and that's what I always like to say with a sweet pea. You've got a big first class root ball. You plant that in the soil in the March time, and I'll guarantee you'll have a first class bloom of flowers by the end of May. Absolutely marvellous. You can start your sweet pea away quite easily in February, March, but as I say, I like to always do an autumn crop, and you get a really big, if you've got the space that is, I mean you don't need much room. By the time you pot them off, you can, in a packet of seed you probably get about 20 or 30 seed in a packet. Depends on where you shop around. You know, these are Mr. Fothergill's, and it's usually on 40 seeds. Now, if you're just starting up on the garden world, and your seed packet, it's loads of information on the back there. You don't have to follow it word for word as you go on later, as you get better and better and better. Years go by. You don't even bother to look at the packet. But for the beginners, it gives you a wealth of information. It gives you a seed count, which is, I think, it's most important. It'll give you a few tips on where to plant them, what temperature to plant them, and how to plant them, how deep. Now, when I showed, once again, when I go back to Sherry, when she was saying she was having poor germination, depth is one of the main things you're going to suffer with. Not so much this tray, because I broadcast them, but with majority of my trays, I get a small bit of cane, press it into deep damp soil, press the cane in, and just by pressing that cane in, it gives you a couple of millimetre depth. That's all you need for to put your seed in. And I always do it in 3 rows. 3 rows on a full size tray, small size tray, 3 rows. And then what that gives you, it gives you 3 nice rows, and you can just pencil them out or fork them out into little clumps, which I always do. I never sow them singly, not my annuals anyway. I always pull up little clumps, just as you treat lobelia. Delphiniums are a different case altogether. These will be pulled out singly and planted up singly. But it's all tricks like that you learn later on. As I say, propagators, if you're just using a cold greenhouse, you can get these as cheap as chips. You can get cheaper ones than this at most of your gardening stores. But I love these, they're great. You can just pop them, put a bit of ventilation on them, pop them. Once again, ventilation, that's another sore point. Especially in the winter months, people got a tendency to close their greenhouse down, completely cover it in polythene, hoping it's keeping the greenhouse nice and warm and snug. It certainly is. But yeah, the air mass inside is stagnant. We'll get them doors open, get the fresh air in. You don't have to have your door open long, 5 minutes, it's quite enough. Get that air circulating. It means you've got nothing nasty building up inside your greenhouse. You're keeping that air movement, boitress, moulds, all them things all creeping around. Make sure your water's nice and clean. Bring it down from the house or from the tap in your garden. Have a barrel standing by. I've got 3 watering cans in here and they're always full. Bring them down from the house. Never get dirty water out of the barrel. My water put over there, I'll probably use it in another couple of weeks and then it'll be thrown out, be tipped out, washed out, and then the rain will fill it up again for next year, but it'll be nice and clean. Even after a couple of weeks, you'll start to get a mould, you get funguses, you get viruses building up in the water. So you never put that in your plants in the greenhouse. Never. Always use clean, fresh water. Bring your water in, wherever you get it from. Let it stand in the greenhouse, let it come up to temperature, and then water your seedlings. But once again, I never water mine from above. That way, you stop any dampening off. Dampening off is one of the worst things you can have. If you've got poor air circulation in your greenhouse and it's damp and it's cold, you can guarantee you're going to end up with with a bad crop. And once that sets in, it can wipe out a whole tray of seedlings in a matter of hours. So just be careful with your watering. Make sure you've got good fresh air. If you want to put a heat on, that's fine, but don't overdo the heat. With my onions, my leeks, they'll not get any higher than 50, 55 at the most. And that's the temperature I like to work with. And they just come with nice and slowly. Full light. Any seedling, get them up in the light, get them as near as you can to the light. And that's what they like. You don't like being stuck down in some corner in the shelf, struggling to get up for a bit of light. Going leggy. Once I go leggy, that's it. You know, you're having to replant, you're having to push them right down into the soil, and 9 times out of 10, you can damage the stems or it'll completely die off. So start with a nice, small, stocky plant, just like them. They're lovely. They're on the top there, next to the full light, and they're growing away quite well. But these will be in the polytunnel all winter. And they'll be first class plants for next spring. But then again, once again, I'll show you next spring how to. And these are just it's standard pack of delphinium seed from your local store. You might pay a couple of pounds for them, but you've got 50 plants here, or 40 plants here, grown properly. They've had a spraying every now and again. If you notice, I put a marker on my bottles, and that's chamomile tea. And every couple of days, if I think of drying out, a little spray chamomile tea. You'd be amazed at the stuff in there. Cheap as chips. Get yourself down to the health shop and get a box of chamomile tea bags. Works wonders for any seedling. I've used it for years. So the delphiniums are coming away great. The Bellis Daisy I'll probably do on next week's video, well this week's video, because as I say, I've just popped downstairs just to let everybody know that I'm still here. I'm still alive. And like I say, hopefully by then we should see some germination of them onions. The first ones for next season, but that's only a trial. Once they come through alright, and I will know that that seed head is spot on and ready to go. We've got a few packets of onion seed to grow this year. I've got some nice big ones. I've got some Mammoth, Robinson's Mammoth, which I'm going to try them. I've got some new tomatoes. I'm going to try a couple of new varieties. I've got the dahlias coming in. Oh, we've got a few bits and pieces to start off next year. So if you're interested in what plot, in what site, and you want a bit more information, and just follow her right through the season. Been a bit hitty missy this year. The weather's been absolutely garbage, but we've persevered, and we're getting some decent crops. You know, we're getting some nice onions, we're getting some nice tomatoes. Potatoes have been fine. You know, I can't complain. It is what it is, and look forward to next year. And you know, we'll just shrug our shoulders and get on with it. At the end of the day, if you want anything out of the garden, you've got to put the time in, you've got to put the effort in. So that's what it's all about. Anyway, get myself upstairs, I'll put this online, and then just say to everybody, you know where I am. If you want to get in touch with me, if you want to follow on Facebook, it's Jeff Foreman on the Plot. Send me a friend's request, because it's now a private group. I've changed it to a private group now, and you can talk with most nights online, send me messages, blah blah blah, whatever, and we'll get in touch with you. Okay, so for the time being, I'm gonna get myself way back upstairs. Got a can of beer in the fridge. I'm gonna sit back, put the sunlight, and I'm gonna relax for a few hours. And we'll get another video done this week. We'll get at the plot, and I'll show you. We'll start potting off how we'll pot our spring bedding up, and we'll get that ready for next year. Grapevines are going to need a load of work, load of cutting back. I've got a load of side shoots on the new grapevine, so I'm looking forward to that one, because I'm going to cut the side shoots off and use them for cuttings for next year. So it's lots to do in the next couple of videos anyway, but we'll go through all that as we work way up to the winter months. Okay, so I'll see you again hopefully before the end of this week. Bye for now.